There's a good one on an early paper that they were presenting at this Manchester section of the RSS. And it had to do, there were two factors, X1 and X2. And these guys are working for General Electric were trying to increase the life of the filaments in the light bulb. And they had run a casual pattern, not a designed experiment. And what they had done is they'd had X1, X2, and then they'd built spikes up and showing you how high or what the tensile strength or whatever the heck the response was for each one of these settings of X1 and X2. And if you looked at it, you could sort of see there was a plane there. And so Egon Pearson took their data and he fitted a plane. And so there's a second demonstration, and you can see the plane in the data right there. Mm-hmm. So Egon Pearson describing the use of this data for fitting a plane. So it's the first response service ever shown. And after he finishes, it says, now I'll turn the discussion over to Frank Yates, who will tell you about the analysis of variance associated with this. So here is Egon Pearson and Frank Yates talking about this early experimental design fitting a plane to a collection of data way back in 1933. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. Now, Egon Pearson is the son of Carl Pearson.
Yeah.
Turn of the century statistician and founder of a lot of the methods, the whole notion of hypothesis testing and all of that emanates from his mind. You figure that the notion for response surfaces came out of some work that he had done.
I think the notion, well, I mean, that was an early, it's an early illustration of response surface methods, but no one was talking about response surface methods and using that terminology. And no one was thinking about the experimental design. This was just a collection of data that had been artfully looked at by a bunch of very clever statisticians, and apparently Egon Pearson had figured, well, instead of fitting a straight line, let's fit a plane. And he fitted, and he put the plane through the data, and then the associated analysis and so forth. He left to Frank Yates as an exposition of this very, very early on, And it's the only, I don't recall ever finding any subsequent appeals to that geometric interpretation of data until George comes along,
Yeah.
With his response service taken.
And that's the early Box and Wilson paper.
Yeah. And that was spectacular when that hit, It was just, it's when the sign of genius is it's obvious after you see it. You say, well, of course.
Yeah. Why didn't we all think of that?
We all think of that. It's so clearly so. That's exactly right,
Yeah.